in a world where we don't always feel seen and understood, it can be easy to feel disconnected and lonely sometimes. What if the way to reconnect is simpler than we think, and we can create communities and families with more empathy and connection? You see, disconnection is already affecting our families. According to the CDC, 3 out of 4 parents believe their teen always receives the emotional support they need. However, only 1 in 4 teens agree. For me, this really matters. Years ago, on a foggy evening, I rode in the car to the birthing center, riding waves of intensity. Several hours later, the midwife helped me lift this baby onto my stomach, and I looked into her eyes for the very first time. A pure wave of love washed over me. We named her Luna, which means moon in her father's native Spanish. And over the years, our family grew, and Luna was joined by 2 brothers. And my hope for all of them has always been the same, that they feel safe, supported, and free to become who they are. I knew I would have to be intentional as a mom because I knew what it feels like when the world isn't gentle. I've experienced what it feels like to look fine on the outside and not feel understood on the inside. I know what hurtful words can do, how they can not only make your stomach drop, but make you question your whole identity. So when Luna was born, so was the idea that if I couldn't control the whole world out there, I could at least shape the world within my own home. I could make sure that empathy lived there. That baby I held on that foggy evening, she's 17 now. And today she has something to share.
I've always thought that empathy, like water or air, is a basic human right that we should all experience. I also love doing projects and bringing them to life. So last year, my mom and I started a project inviting people to write letters to someone who changed their life. I thought we were just collecting stories. I didn't expect them to change how I think about empathy, but they did. What started out as a creative project slowly became something else, a view into how kindness affected people's lives. I remember that one of the very first letters we received grabbed my attention immediately. It was addressed to the writer's 11-year-old self. She acknowledged that the year had been hard and then thanked her younger self for being resilient. I absolutely love this, that she took the time to go back and thank herself for what she learned during this hard time. For most of my life, my parents had been divorced and I moved between 2 homes and 2 different ways of life. This has come with its challenges. From forgetting an important paper that was due at one of the houses, to forgetting the book I was reading, or even alternating between what are sometimes 2 drastically different lifestyles. Like the girl in the letter, through learning to understand and empathize with myself, I was able to see the benefits these challenges have brought me. They have led me to be the type of person who knows how to plan and organize well, and who can anticipate and redirect when obstacles fall in my way. But understanding yourself isn't automatic, it's something you practice. So, how do we practice this in our lives? Well, it starts with looking inwards. Think about the last emotion you felt. Do you know where that emotion came from? What situation, environment, or memory caused it to surface? If not, pause for a moment and ask yourself why. When we are building empathy, we start with ourselves. The first step is to try to have compassion with yourself. Because once we can empathize with ourselves, we can empathize with others.
This is something we can do in our families during ordinary moments. Over the course of several years, I experienced chronic painful migraines. And Luna and her brothers would keep the lights and the noise down low and take care of dinner for themselves, checking in occasionally to see how I was doing. They made those hard moments easier by being thoughtful and caring. I was still the mother, but I didn't have to carry it alone. We see moments like these throughout the stories people share in the collection of letters. One story struck me in particular. One young woman wrote about the person who shaped her most. She wrote, "So thank you for showing me what a man can be: kind, compassionate, and thoughtful. I am who I am because I had a father who celebrated all of my successes and wiped away all of my tears." I was so inspired by this way of being. And what's even more inspiring is that it's accessible to all of us. What we aspire to and practice is important. Studies show empathy isn't something we're either born with or without. It's a skill the brain gets better at through experience. And brain imaging studies reveal that when we empathize with someone else, specific networks in the brain light up. And the more that we practice empathy, the stronger these networks become. In other words, empathy grows through repeated relational experiences, exactly what happens in families when we show up for each other. So, for the second step in creating empathy, let's practice showing up with empathetic presence again and again with a genuine willingness to understand.
My mom has always been that empathetic presence in my life. I can recount countless memories where, because of increasing workloads I was managing, I become stressed, overwhelmed. And every time she would show up and ask how she could help me. From the simple act of making me a hot tea to making sure I had enough time to rest, she always showed up. We don't always perceive what is right in front of us. When I took on this creative project to collect letters, I was looking for these grand gestures of kindness. I thought that was what empathy meant. So I expected the letters to reflect that. But then, as the letters started to come in, I started to notice that what I was searching for wasn't there. There were no big, heroic moves that saved the day or single acts that changed someone's life. And I was so focused on trying to find these dramatic moments that I missed what was right in front of me. A pattern emerged as people wrote about the quiet heroes in their lives. The simple yet astounding conclusion that empathy is kindness with consistency. It's been here in this project and in my life, hiding in plain sight the whole time. The mentor who changed a student's life, the single dedicated parent, the patient grandmother, they are all quietly modeling the skills we can all build for a connected and unstoppable future. So, for the third and final step, let's look outwards into the world and practice this. Today, after listening to this talk, there are concrete actions you can take. Have a conversation you've been putting off with someone in your family, call a friend, or write a note to thank someone in your life. Sometimes the biggest ways we can bring empathy to the world are also some of the simplest things we can do today. Choose empathy. With these simple actions, secure to an isolated world.
Can start with you. Thank you.
Thank you.